The countdown from last night did not stop at 0. Daniel hadn't slept. The final seconds from the second March transmission still echoed inside his skull. Oro, Guero, 03, Oriro, Guerrero 2, Oriro, Oriro 1, and then silence. Not static, not signal loss. Silence so absolute it felt engineered. Inside the observation dome at SETI, every system had rebooted simultaneously at 0, Oro 0, Oro 0. Logs wiped for exactly 1.7 seconds, a digital blind spot. But something remained. On Daniel's private terminal, the one not connected to the central grid, a single waveform was frozen on screen. It hadn't counted down to 0. It had shifted frequency at the final millisecond. Mara's voice was shaking behind him. Deep space tracking just updated. He turned to the orbital projection. The object beyond Pluto was no longer decelerating. It had arrived, not in atmosphere, not in orbit. Closer, a distortion shimmered at the edge of Earth's magnetosphere, invisible to optical telescopes but unmistakable in gravitational readings. Space itself was bending slightly inward, as if something massive occupied a location without reflecting light. Daniel amplified the residual frequency from his terminal. The sound that emerged wasn't a tone anymore. It was structured, layered, almost vocal. Then the speakers whispered, "Not through air, through interference." Response acknowledged. Mara stumbled back. That's English." Daniel's pulse pounded. The translation algorithm wasn't active, no AI filter running. The phrase had emerged directly from harmonic compression inside the carrier wave. His screen flickered again. New coordinates populated automatically, not outer space.
Nevada.
Latitude and longitude resolving precisely over the desert ridge 15 miles from the facility. "That's impossible," Mara said. But the external surveillance feed answered her. A vertical ripple appeared in empty air like heat distortion magnified 1,000 times. Sand lifted without wind. Shadows bent toward a central point. Daniel felt the same pressure in his chest he'd felt 20 years ago when he sent that unauthorized reply toward Jupiter's orbit. Only now he understood. It hadn't been waiting for humanity. It had been waiting for him to answer. Emergency channels began flooding with fragmented reports. Aircraft instruments failing. GPS drift across western states. Brief auroras forming far south of the poles. The ripple in the desert intensified. From within the distortion, a darker silhouette began to take shape, not solid, not luminous. A subtraction of reality itself. Daniel whispered, "It's not landing." The harmonic signal rose again, vibrating through the dome's steel frame. "It's crossing." And then his private terminal displayed one final line of text that no one had typed. "Primary contact, Daniel Reed." Outside, the distortion split open like a vertical seam in the fabric of the night, and something stepped halfway through. The jets never reached the ridge. 3 miles out, both aircraft veered off course simultaneously, instruments scrambling as if gravity itself tilted beneath them. Pilots reported horizon loss before communications dissolved into static. Inside the dome at SETI, Daniel watched the distortion compress again, tighter this time, denser. The silhouette was no longer halfway through. It was thinning, as if learning how little of itself it needed to enter. Mara's console flashed red. Magnetosphere spike repeating the same signature we saw beyond Pluto. It's sinking both ends. The seam in the desert narrowed to a vertical line of trembling darkness. Then, without warning, it snapped shut. Silence returned. No ripple, no flash, just empty sand under a cold Nevada sky. Daniel exhaled until his private terminal illuminated again. One word appeared. "Begin." And across every external feed, subtle distortions shimmered. Not at the ridge anymore. Everywhere. The word didn't disappear. "Begin" pulsed once on Daniel's private terminal, then dissolved into a cascade of shifting symbols. Not language, not binary. More like layered geometry compressing itself into meaning. Across the main floor at SETI, technicians shouted as global feeds destabilized. Satellite constellations weren't failing anymore. They were synchronizing. Mara pulled up space weather telemetry. Magnetosphere fluctuations are spreading longitudinally. It's not a point event. Daniel's stomach dropped. The distortion hadn't arrived at one location. It had seeded a pattern. Every GPS satellite pinged simultaneously, locking into the same harmonic frequency they'd recorded earlier near Pluto. Earth's orbital network, the silent web that guided planes, ships, financial systems, was now resonating. Is it hijacking them? Someone asked. Daniel shook his head slowly. No, it's using them. He zoomed into a global electromagnetic map. Faint ripples moved across continents in perfect symmetry. Major cities lit subtly brighter in the radio spectrum: New York, Tokyo, Berlin, each node flashing in timed intervals. A planetary grid. The original seam in the desert had only been calibration. This was activation. Mara's voice trembled. What is it building? Daniel stared at the overlay of the alien equation still cached in system memory. He aligned it with Earth's satellite geometry. The shapes matched. They're constructing a receiver, he whispered. Outside, nothing looked different. Traffic flowed. Skies remained dark and calm. No explosions. No invasion craft. But underneath, in frequencies invisible to human senses, something vast had begun assembling. His private terminal flickered again. A new message formed. Phase 1 complete. And this time Daniel realized with cold certainty, humanity wasn't under attack. It was being upgraded. The upgrade didn't start in the sky. It started in Daniel's head. Before anyone else noticed, he felt it. A low harmonic pressure behind his eyes, perfectly synced with the planetary resonance grid forming across Earth. The satellite map at SETI glowed brighter by the second, orbital nodes flashing in impossible mathematical symmetry. Then Daniel's screen changed. No external signal detected, no inbound transmission. The waveform was coming from inside the facility. Mara's voice trembled. Daniel, your neural monitor. He turned slowly. During the chaos hours earlier, medical staff had attached a cognitive stress band to track vitals. Now the display showed something impossible. His brainwave pattern was matching the extraterrestrial harmonic frequency detected beyond Pluto. Perfect phase alignment. That's not feedback, he whispered. On his private terminal, the alien equation reappeared. But this time it wasn't static. It adapted in real time, shifting variables as his neural activity fluctuated. You initiated contact. The words formed again, not on the screen. In his perception, images flooded his mind. Not memories, not hallucinations. Structures spanning light years. Civilizations that did not expand territorially but informationally. They did not conquer planets. They connected them. Daniel staggered. It's not upgrading Earth, he said hoarsely. It's upgrading me. Mara grabbed his shoulders. To do what? Every satellite blinked once in unison. Around the globe, subtle electronic disturbances rippled through power grids, fiber networks, financial exchanges. Daniel understood in a single, terrifying clarity. Humanity wasn't the receiver. He was. The unauthorized 12-second transmission 20 years ago had marked him as a compatible interface. Biological architecture capable of integrating their signal into Earth's technological lattice. A bridge organism, his pulse synchronized with the planetary grid. The harmonic tone deepened until it was indistinguishable from his own heartbeat. Phase 2 initiating. The words resonated directly through him. Outside the dome, the Nevada sky shimmered faintly, not opening, not tearing, just bending as if reality were waiting for instruction. Daniel looked at Mara one last time. I don't think they're arriving, he said quietly. I think they're logging in. Every monitor went white, and across the planet, for exactly 1 second, every connected device displayed the same message. Primary interface established.